Welcome into Black and Gold Insider. This is the show where we get to know the members of the Black and Gold a little bit better. I am Max Bretos, and joining us today, one of the newest members here in 2026, it's LAFC midfielder Stephen Eustáquio. Stephen, thanks for joining us. We're off and running here in 26. Welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We're thrilled to have you. I know a lot of people looking forward to get to know you as well a little bit better. I know it's a unique circumstance from where you came. Can you tell us a little bit about where you came up, your formative years growing up as a human and as a soccer player?
Yeah, I was born in Canada. Both my parents are Portuguese, but they moved to Canada to search for a better life. That's where I was born. I have an older brother that was born in Portugal. So I was born in Canada in a small town called Leamington in Ontario. I was there until I was 7 years old. We moved back to Portugal, me, my parents, and my brother. That's where my Portuguese campaign in soccer started. Basically, pretty smooth. Fast forward, when I hit it, the senior team, I was in the 4th division. Did good. Went to the 3rd, to the 2nd, to the 1st. Then I had a quick trip to Mexico, where unfortunately I had a big injury, and then I had to come back to Portugal. And then I played at Pasos. I got transferred to Porto, and now I'm here after 5 years of Porto. And yeah, pretty much that was it.
You just went through like 12 years of a career in like an instant. We're done here.
Sorry.
But that's amazing. But I love to hear that, Stephen, because there was no shortcuts for you, right? I mean, this was something where you set your sight on being a professional footballer. You had to start essentially from the bottom. Let me ask you, but when did you see yourself pursuing this as a career? When did you say, I got something here and I want to see how far I can take it?
No, as a youth in the Portuguese youth system, I was good. I was a good player. I was pretty good, but there was a couple of years when I turned like 17 to 18, 19 where I struggled a little bit. And this was more because physically I grew up a little bit late, so I was smaller than everybody, skinnier than everybody. There was a moment where I kind of, I sat down with my parents saying like, I think it's better for me to go study and leave football. And to be honest, they were the ones that said, no, like if take a year off school. Obviously, I finished high school, and they said, no, take a year. Like, let's see how football goes. Give 100%. And I said, okay, I'll try 1 year, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And yeah, pretty much worked pretty well. And then I made that first team roster in the 4th division, and then that's where my path kind of went up. Yeah, I never played in a big team in the youth system. It was always small teams. And then I went through all divisions in Portugal to reach a kind of first division and such a big club as Porto. So yeah, it was pretty much a good story to tell.
But how did that help you, having to go through those processes? And even as you pointed out, having to have that almost come to Jesus moment with your family, say, I don't know if this is it. I'm a late bloomer. But when you look back and you said, okay, this has really helped me become the player I am in international, playing for a club like LAFC, reaching the heights that you did in Europe as well. When you look back at that, how does that reflect?
I think it helped me in a certain way where I kind of like went through all the stages, all the types of grass that was possible. I kind of lived in a stadium for 2 years in Portugal, like not the best quality in locker rooms and all this. I think like it kind of prepared me for like when I was in the top clubs in Portugal, when I was having some games where the grass wasn't the best, I was always thinking, no, I've been through this. Like, I've been through this in the past. So that's why I don't take nothing for granted, even though right now, like, I gave everything I have in training, because I think the work ethic that I had back then is the thing that, keeps me going. So yeah, I just try to be myself. I try to be the same Stefan I was 8, 9, 10 years ago. Working hard, just being humble, knowing that everything can change real quick. So I'm very proud of the person and the player that I've become.
And you reached each of those rungs, so much so you're at Porto, which is the big name in Portuguese football. You're playing in Champions League. When you look back at your path and you're able to accomplish that and playing on nice fields, obviously. What are you most proud of when you're able to say, I was able to reach those heights?
What I think, like, for me, it's kind of, it gives me a little bit of happiness knowing that, you know, the work that I put in back then, which probably at the time I didn't really understand, why I wasn't having dinner with my friends, why wasn't I going out with my friends, why was I staying at home knowing that I had practice the next day to rest, and why wasn't I taking advantage of my life when I was 17, 18, 9 years old, you know, 19 years old. And I think, like, today, I really thank myself at the time that I didn't do stupid decisions, and, you know, everything right now makes sense. But it was hard at the time, and I think, even though sometimes I speak with youth system teams like under 15, 16, 17, and I always try to focus on the players that are not playing that much, or thinking that, you know, maybe I'm not gonna make, maybe I'm not gonna be a pro athlete, because back then I was that type of player. And, you know, there's a lot of players that I played in the past in the youth system that were three times better than me, but never made it. So, you know, I try to focus my good energies to those kinds of players and tell them, like, it's not how you start, it's how you end. So just continue going, continue working. Things can change real quick. What's gonna be the difference maker is how much you work and how much you want it. So yeah, I think that's the biggest message I can carry with me today.
That's a great answer, Stefan. And that's important to you, right? When you see these kids coming through and maybe they're struggling a bit and they're wondering if they can, just to pass on the example that you set and how it ended.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's
For
going.
me, yeah. For me, like, I really like to see a kid that, obviously, throughout our careers, we see youngsters that come to the first team, and some of them are better, some of them are not so good. But the ones that really like to listen, the ones that, you know, when I give them advice, they listen and they appreciate it. That's the ones that I'm like, okay, no, I have to invest in this guy, because there's a couple of players I've talked to in the past where there's like, what is this guy telling me? Like, I know everything. And normally the path for those players are is not the best. So I try to, you know, have a good conversation with them, be positive, tell them that, you know, nobody was born with the ability to play soccer at the highest level. So I mean, just keep working, do this, and if you do this, you'll be all right. And the ones that want to hear, perfect, they have my support the whole way. The other ones that don't, it is what it is.
Well, we appreciate that because we have a lot of kids tuning into this and parents. And I think the lesson of listening is such a massive one. You mentioned about going to Mexico. Can you tell us about how that opportunity arose and talk about that injury? And, you know, that was obviously a crossroads moment for you. Take us back and how you absorbed that and moved on from it.
Yeah, so I was in a team in Portugal where we were doing collectively not the best season. I think at the time I really wanted to experience playing for a big team, to have more fans, have a higher pressure. And at the time in Europe, nothing, no offer came for me. So there was a big opportunity of a former Portuguese, former no, he's still coaching, but a Portuguese coach called Pedro Caixinha that went to Cruz Azul. And he was like, you know, we want you here. I think it's gonna be good for you. I looked at the club. The club was amazing. It was what I needed at the time, which was a big club with big fans. So I really wanted to put myself in that type of stage of pressure. But yeah, unfortunately, at the second game, I had a big injury in my knee, which for I think at the time I was probably 21 years old, something like this, or 22. It was very upsetting because you know, you're just starting to accomplish some things in your career, and to have such a major setback that I knew what it came with, because my brother had this injury before, so I went through the process with him, so I knew about it and I knew it was tough. And yeah, it's just for a player that's 22 years old to be 8 9 months without playing, you know, football, and knowing that you have to give everything every single day, or else, like, the level that you used to reach isn't going to be capable of reaching anymore. I think that was, in a certain way, it was very demanding for me, and I was afraid, to be honest. But at the same time, it gave me a vision like, okay, if I have 8 months where I can't play football, I have 8 months where I can go to the gym. I have 8 months where I can be better physically. I have 8 months where I can, enjoy my time with my family more. I have 8 months where I can learn more about football. And I think that was a process at the time that was very tough, but made me the player that I am today. And I think today I'm the player that I'm now. With, I believe I have some type of knowledge in football. It was way more because of that time. I was very, very, very. Um, I was looking at more games, studying more teams, trying to see how much I can grow in my own game, and I think that was a difference maker at the time.
That's great perspective. And I know when players get injured, there's those moments where it feels lost, but you're
Yeah.
lying there. But there's things you can do. I mean, you mentioned watching games, and I've heard that about you. You're a real student. How much football do you consume? How is it important? How much do you need to watch to improve your game?
I see a lot of my games. The ones that I play, I see a lot. I probably see them 1 or 2 times, maybe after. People say, you see your games just to see that you're doing good and this and that, and I say, yeah, I like to feed myself with positive things, because if it's not me or my brother or my girlfriend, who is it gonna be? So yeah, I like to see my games. Even when I do bad, I like to see him to correct a couple of things. But when I do good, I like to see my games as well, because I need to feed myself with positive things, as I said. Um, Looking at European football, obviously, I like to see. I like to spend more time with my family. So if I have time with my family or a football game, I spend more time with my family. That's what I really enjoy to do. But at the same time, when I have the possibility, my girlfriend, she goes early to bed, and I just stay in my living room, just looking at a couple of moments from last game. I always ask the videos of the individuals of our next game. Let's say tomorrow against Real Spina. I already have the videos of the midfielders. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I like to see for sure.
But no tablet or cell phone at the dinner table with the family.
No, no, no.
Okay.
No, no.
That's more for me. That's unfortunately what I do. I get reprimanded by my wife all the time. But
And she does good. She does good.
I know. Talking to you, I'm gonna recalibrate things. Uh, you mentioned about Portugal. You had a chance. You had a decision with Portugal or Canada. Can you take us back to that decision on where you wanted to align yourself internationally and what went into that choice?
Yeah, so when I was under 17, I did a couple of games with Canada, the youth system, and it was a friendly tournament, um, which I did one camp with them, and then they never called me back. So under 18, under 19, under 20, nothing. And then I started doing pretty good in Portugal, and the Portuguese national coach, under 21, he came to me and he said, I know your papers are on Canada Federation. I just want to tell you that I'm looking forward to call you for our team. We're doing the European qualifying for the Euros, and I just want to tell you that I want to count on you. But at the same time, I feel that if with the experience I have, if you make this decision of changing federation, probably you're not able to go back to Canada. And I said, you know what? Okay, let me see. Let me just check how it works. So I talked with a couple of lawyers, and because the games that I did with the under 17 in Canada weren't official, basically my first game with at an international level was with Portugal, so I could shift one more time. So I did my whole campaign in Portugal under 21. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify for the Euros. And then at the time, I was in the middle of the process with under 21, and coach John Herdman from Canada's men's national team, he called me. He's like, you know what? I just knew that you're gonna start your path with Portugal. I really want to count on you for the first team. I think you have the capability of making history with us, because we wanna be in Qatar 2022 at the time. And I said, respectfully, I'll have to decline right now, because I'm with Portugal. I'm gonna do the whole path with the under 21s, and then after that, let's see how it goes. And then basically, at the time, Portugal, like for me, Portugal is one of the best nations in terms of producing footballers in the world, probably. And at the time, there was like the midfielder Bruno Fernandes, Danilo, William Carvalho, Renato Sanchez at the time was amazing. Jetson Fernandez was coming up. João Palhinha. I can name
It's a long
25,
list.
30. Now we have Vitinha, João Neves. Like, we're talking about players. And I felt that, at the time I was doing good. Eventually, probably an opportunity me representing Portugal could have come, but I think it was gonna be something about, like, probably playing one game, entering one game, and basically that was gonna be it. And then with Canada, I had the opportunity of, participating more, playing more, qualifying for the 2022 Qatar World Cup, which we did. Now I'm gonna have a home World Cup in this summer, which I knew at the time that was gonna be possible. So yeah, for me it was a easy decision to play for Canada, because they gave me 2 World Cups, probably three, by the time, in 2030. And I think playing a World Cup for a footballer is probably the highest point you can have in your career. So for me, I'm very thankful that Canada gave me the opportunity, and I'm very happy with my decision.
Smart man. At least doing the due diligence as well about making sure that you could do the switch.
Yeah.
And that's been the part reason you're at LAFC too, because now you're looking towards 2026, not only playing at a World Cup, but playing at a World Cup in the home country. So take us to the decision at LAFC, obviously finding the right club, but also helping. How much was it the factor of finding the club to help propel you towards being the very best for the summer of 26?
No, I knew that at the time I needed a club where, I could play. And when I say I could play, it's not 90-90 back to back. It's talking about, being somebody that hits the field, even if it's for 30, 40, 60 minutes, whatever, but somebody that's more in the team, which I wasn't at Porto. And I think, when the opportunity of LAFC came, knowing that, arguably they're one of the best teams in the MLS, knowing that, for me to go to camp would be quicker, knowing that, to change, a city like Porto for another city, it had to be something like Los Angeles, knowing that the weather was going to impact me, always being sunny here, making my family happy as well where they are. And obviously having Mathieu and Shaf here, at the team, which I have great relationship from the national team, and Mark being obviously a coach that I knew from the past, because he coached my brother in Ottawa Fury. So all these type of things, and then at the end of the day, it's how much you feel the club wants you or doesn't want you. And I felt from the first day that, LAFC really wanted me, was really counting on me. Um, which, what they don't know is that I need them more than they need me. So I'm very happy with my decision, and I'm very happy that, they search for my football. But if we turn the page, I needed them more, for sure.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now, Stefan. I mean, you mentioned Mark and that connection with your brother, but he's also Portuguese, Canadian, and there's that allegiance between the two countries which you share. Do you feel like there's a kindred spirit with that coach, knowing that you guys have so much in common with your nationalities?
Yeah, obviously it's different when somebody calls you and speaks your own language, and I think everything makes it so easier. But at the time, like, when there was a possibility of coming here and knowing that Mark, he's Canadian and Portuguese, it wasn't really about that. It was more about, what can he offer me in terms of being my coach, and what can I give him, what can I give the team to support him, fighting for titles. And I think, like, the feedback that I had from my brother, the feedback that I had from Shaf, from Matthew, from a couple of players, was like, everything was so pure and so, so clean. It's just really what I really wanted. Obviously in Porto, I had amazing 5 years. I'm still on a loan, which, I can still go back and continue my path there. But at the same time, we're talking about a team where you always have to win, and to be able to bring that to a team that, really wants to win as well. For me, like, there isn't a big shift, and for me, the adaptability was very, very easy.
And all the things with living in LA, wearing that jersey, playing with these teammates, how would you rate it?
Um, from 0 to 5, probably a 10.
What's with the 5-point rating? I like it. And we go to 10. We go to 10.
Yeah.
So life is good for Stephen Eustáquio in Los Angeles and LAFC.
Yes, very good.
Well, Stephen, I got to tell you, it's been delightful to talk with you, and thank you for being so upfront about this. I enjoyed it, and I know our listeners will. And best of luck. You look great in that shirt, by the way, and we look forward to seeing you out there on the field.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Stephen Eustáquio joining us here on Black and Gold Insider. We'll be back every week. Until we meet again, this is Max saying, let's go Black and Gold.